Metaphysical poetry. This is the playlist that we have been conducting on Pratyancha channel. I hope you've been following it. Today I bring to you another piece by the poet Donne. If you haven't seen the earlier videos in this playlist, I would request you to do that, because the first video contains an introduction to the nature of metaphysical poetry and to the socio-political influences that basically gave character to this genre, to this heading metaphysical. So you must go and watch the introduction of both the earlier videos, and you would be able to then construct a good idea of what was the characteristic features of this poetry, what were the characteristic features of this poetry, and then make better sense of the piece that we are going to be doing here today. Donne, 1572 to 1631. The piece that I do today is entitled Death Be Not Proud. Death Be Not Proud. And he wrote this piece in 1609, though it did not see the light of publication till much after. But today it's one of his best known works. There are many others, one we have done on this channel as well. And this one particularly is written as a sonnet to death. Death be not proud. And like I said in one of the earlier videos, a sonnet is basically a 16-line poem. It is divided into 4 parts. The first 3 parts have 4 lines each, and the 4th part is a couplet, or it has only 2 lines. The rhyme scheme of these 3 parts remains the same. In this case, it is A, B, B, A, then C, D, D, C, and then E, F, F, E, and finally G, H. So which basically means that in the first line, whatever word comes at the end would rhyme with the word that comes at the end of the 4th line. And the 2nd and the 3rd line will then rhyme with each other. So this is the rhyme scheme that the poem follows. In this video, first I will tell you what this poem is about, and then we shall go stanza by stanza and understand what Donne is telling us in this sonnet. Now, I have earlier told you that metaphysical poetry is famous for the very extreme comparisons that it draws. And this metaphor or this comparison, which is so extreme, is termed as a conceit, a metaphysical conceit. And here, he's speaking to death. Now, the usual notion of death is, when you're speaking of death, either you're speaking of sadness or melancholy, or you're losing someone. Another notion with death is that is a part of the natural cycle. If things don't die, there'll be no new creation. Another notion that you may attach with this thing is that though death is the ultimate reality, we in life, with our achievement, with our valor, can beat it. We in life, by living very fully, can beat death. Now, all these notions are very commonplace, and we have come across these notions in many pieces that we might have read about this fact of human life called death, or this fact of nature called death. But here, Donne, in this particular sonnet, takes a very noble view of death. He says that like we have sleep, like we have rest, similarly, when bodies get tired, they just go to sleep, and you are just one kind of a sleep death, and then we are going to wake up and you shall no longer be there. And you really cannot beat us, because we're just going to be sleeping after a hard-lived life, and then we'll wake up into another life. Also, he says that there are various ways in people intoxicate themselves, or maybe there are poisons. Sometimes there are other things by way of which one does not remain in one's senses. And there he says that death, even those are better than you. And that comparison, the way he will do it, I will tell you in the stanza, it's almost like he's trying to mock death. So let's start and reading the poem from the first stanza. Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful. Thee, T-H-E-E, basically Old English usage for you, Y-O-U. And he says, death be not proud. Death, don't you be proud. Don't you think that because people call you mighty and people call you dreadful, people say that you're powerful, in other ways they say that you're we should be afraid of you, you're dreadful. But I don't think so, that you should be proud listening to all these adjectives that are used for you. For thou art not so. Thou, you, art, A-R-E-R, you are not so. I don't think you're mighty and dreadful, so don't be proud. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. For those whom you thinkest thou dost overthrow. You think that there are people that you overthrow, that there are people that you kill. They do not die. Poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. And don't you think you can kill me? When you kill people, they do not die, and neither do you have the power to kill me. And now he explains himself. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be. Rest and sleep are like your pictures, or they are very related to you. They are something like you, that we get tired during the day, so we sleep in the night, and then we wake up into another day. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure. There is so much pleasure to be gained from rest and sleep. Then from thee much more must flow. And if you're a larger version of rest and sleep, then you'll be far more pleasurable. You would give us far more pleasure than one night of rest gives us. You're the most pleasurable thing then. And soonest our best men with thee do go. And then our best men, people whom we respect, people whom we care for, people who we feel have done well in their lives, they just follow suit, and everyone finally there comes a day in their life that they die. So these best men do go with you. Rest of their bones and soul's delivery. And of course their bones, basically the flesh and bones also die away, and the soul also dies away. Thou art slave to fate. And then he says, death, you don't kill these people, but actually you are a slave to fate, chance, kings and desperate men. You don't kill us, death, but it is either someone's fate, or either it's by chance, or some king orders a killing, or some desperate men fighting with each other, that basically they end up killing each other. So you don't need to be proud at all. Thou art slave to fate. You are actually a slave. If a person decides to kill another person in a war, if a king decides to execute someone, if fate decides that this person is going to have an accident and thereby die, death, you have no role to play. You simply are a slave to all these things. Now, this is the metaphysical conceit here, that he's imagining death as a slave of chance, as a slave of fate, as a slave of human will, whether in terms of a king manifesting his will, or whether in terms of soldiers or people in a war who are wanting to kill each other. So he's saying, death, you are slave to these people, to their will and to fate. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings and desperate men, and dost with poison, war and sickness dwell. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. And he says that you dwell with poison, with war and with sickness. So you're a slave to all these things. A poison kills a person, maybe a sickness kills a person, a war kills a person, a king orders a killing. You don't kill us. You are a slave to all these things. When they decide to act, you have to follow suit, and you have to happen to the person to whom the poison is being administered, or to whom war has brought death. So death, you are a slave to these things. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. Poppy, the flower which intoxicates, or a charm, basically you read something or you do something to another person so as to bring ill will upon him, or you cast a spell on him. These things can also make us sleep. These things can also have a negative impact on our life. And better than thy stroke. And I feel that these sort of intoxications, or these sort of things, the sleep or the rest or the slowness of pace that they bring in our life is better than your stroke. Why swellest thou then? Then why you swell in pride? Swellest? You swell in pride. हिंदी में बोलते हैं फूले नहीं समाना. बिल्कुल उसकी अंग्रेजी है swellest. तो swell का मतलब है यहाँ फूलना. And he's saying, then why are you swelling with pride if your action is even less than the poppy or the charms? One short sleep past, we wake eternally. One short sleep past, we wake eternally. So death, you come to us, we sleep for a short time, and then we wake eternally. And death shall be no more. And death shall be no more. When we wake up after the sleep, you'll be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Death, thou shalt die. A wonderful, wonderful sonnet. Look at the conceits here. First he says that death, you cannot kill me. Then he says that if rest and sleep bring us pleasure and rejuvenate us, I am sure you'll bring us greater pleasure. So don't you think you are mighty or you're dreadful. And then he says that you are a slave. You're a slave of a king's will wishing to execute. You're a slave of fate, of poison, of chance. So forget it, death. Don't swell with pride that you have any impact on our lives. We'll have one short sleep and then we'll wake up eternally again. And death, thou shalt die. It is you who shall die, death, not me. So death, be not proud, by Donne. Keep following the metaphysical poets on Pratyancha. Thank you.